It's page 34. We'll go to like 39. Sit here, Catherine, where the fire will warm your back. Tell us how you happened to come so far. Did your grandfather come with you? My grandfather died 4 months ago, Kit explained. Why, you poor child, all alone there on the island. Who did come with you, then? I came alone. Praise be, her aunt marveled. Well, you're here safe and sound. Have you some cornbread, my dear? 'Twas baked fresh yesterday, and there is new butter. Surprisingly, the bread tasted delicious, though of course texture like nothing she had ever tasted before. Kit lifted the pewter mug thirstily and abruptly set it down. Is that water? She asked politely. Of course, drawn fresh from the spring this morning. Water for breakfast? But the cornbread was good, and she managed a second piece in spite of her dry tongue. Rachel Wood could not seem to look away from the young face across the table, and every few moments her eyes brimmed over the tears. I declare you look so like her it takes my breath away, but all the same there is a hint of your father there too. I can see it if I look closely. You remember my father? Kit asked eagerly. I remember him well. A fine, upstanding lad he was, and I never could blame Margaret, but it broke my heart to have her go so far. But Rachel had come even further. What could she have seen in the fierce silent man to draw her away from England? Could he have been handsome? Perhaps, with the strong regal nose and the high forehead, but so terrifying. Matthew Wood had not sat down at the table with the others. Though he had said nothing, Kit had been aware that emotion had escaped his intent scowl. Now he pulled down a leather jacket from a peg on the wall and thrust his long arms into the sleeves. I will be working in the South Meadow, he told his wife. You had best expect me till sundown. At the open door, however, he stopped and looked back at them. What is all this? He inquired coldly. Oh, said Kit, scrambling to her feet. I forgot. Those are my trunks. Yours? 7 trunks? What can be in them? Why, my clothes, and a few things of grandfather's. 7 trunks of clothes, all the way from Barbados, just for a visit? The cold measured words fell like so many stones into the quiet room. Kit's throat was so dry she longed to swallow the water. She lifted her chin and looked directly into those searching eyes. I have not come for a visit, sir, she answered. I have come to stay with you. There was a little gasp from Rachel. Matthew Wood closed the door deliberately and came back toward the table. Why did you not write to him first? All her life, whenever her grandfather had asked her a question, he had expected the direct answer. Now, in this stern man facing her, so totally different from her grandfather, Kit sensed the same quality of directness, and out of an instinctive respect she gave the only honest answer she could. I did not dare to write, she said. I was afraid that you might tell me to come, and I had to come. Rachel leaned forward to put her hand on Kit's arm. We would not have refused you if you were in need, said her uncle, but a step like this should not be taken without due pondering. Matthew, protested Rachel timidly. What is there to ponder? We are the only family she has. Let us talk about it later. Now Catherine is tired, and your work has been delayed already. Matthew Wood drew up a chair and sat down heavily. The work will have to wait, he said. It is best that we understand this matter at once. How did you come to set sail all alone? There was a ship in the harbor, and they said it was from Connecticut. I should have sent a letter, I know, but it might have been months before another ship came, so instead of writing, I decided to come myself. You mean that, just on an impulse, you left your rightful home and sailed halfway across the world? No, it was not on any impulse exactly. You see, I really had no home to leave. What of your grandfather's estate? I always understood he was a wealthy man. I suppose he was once wealthy, but he had not been well for a long time. I think for years he had not been able to arrange the plantation, but no one realized it. He left everything more and more to the overseer, a man named Bryant. Last winter Bryant sold off the whole crop and then disappeared. Probably he sailed back to England on the trading ship. Grandfather couldn't believe it. After that he was never really well. The other plantation owners were his friends. Nobody ever pressed him, but after he died there just seemed to be debts everywhere, wherever I turned. Did you pay them? Yes, every one of them. All the land had to be sold, and the house and the slaves, and all the furniture from England. There wasn't anything left, not even enough for my passage. To pay my way on the ship I had to sell my own negro girl. Humph! With one syllable Matthew disposed of the sacrifice, only a little less sharp than grandfather's loss, of the little African slave who had been her shadow for 12 years. There was an awkward silence. Kit found Mercy's eyes and was steadied by the quiet sympathy she saw there. Then her aunt came to put an arm across her shoulder. Poor Catherine! It must have been terrible for you. You were perfectly right to come to us. You do believe she was right, don't you, Matthew? Yes, her husband conceded harshly. She was right, and I suppose, since we are her only kin, I will bring in the baggage. At the door he turned again. Your grandfather was a king's man, I reckon. He was a royalist, sir. Here in America are you not the subjects of King James? Without answering, Matthew Wood left the room. 7 times he returned, bending his tall frame to enter the doorway, and with wordless disapproval, set down one after the other the 7 small trunks. They filled one entire end of the room. Where on earth can we put them? Quavered her aunt. I will find a place for them later in the attic, said her husband. 7 trunks! The whole town will be talking about it before nightfall.